You're watching NewsView with Lee Sullivan.
Welcome back. It's NewsView, visiting with Ron Hart, author, syndicated columnist, and Fox News View contributor. And next subject I broach to you is the president had his fiscal, and as it were.
Yeah.
And so they told him he needed to get off the juice, it seems as though.
Apparently so, yeah. His doctor says he's in a lot better shape than the country is.
Yeah.
You know, under his rule. But yeah, they said he needs, implicitly what I read is there's some inclination that he may drink a little bit.
Right.
So, you know, I don't blame him, I do too, but they may have him just, you know, make him go down to 8 beer summits a year, you know, some rationing mode. But you know, it's kind of ironic in a way that here's the president who, you know, eats a lot of fried foods. In Savannah, he ate a huge amount of fried foods, has some cholesterol issues. He drinks some, clearly smokes. And he's the one pushing health care on the country. He wants it free. I know he wants it free because he
Well, he's already. I mean, you know, those people are so disingenuous. I mean, they're not in our world. They're not in our system. I mean, this is for us, not for them.
Right. And he's turning 50, so he did a colonoscopy, and that turned out okay. They did find the whole staff of MSNBC and five New York Times columnists up there, and the evening anchor teams were there. They were all up there braiding each other's hair. But that was one of the things they determined they got. We'll see what happens. I mean, you know, he seems healthy. He plays basketball. I don't know what.
Oh, crap. Oh, well, yeah. What else he got to do?
Yeah. Dick Cheney, though. I mean, Cheney's had some health problems, obviously. He goes in every year for his annual autopsy.
Yeah.
He's like, you know, his first heart attack when he was 38. I think he said his 5th one. I think he gets his card stamped, and the 6th one's free, I think, his heart attack.
Well, I mean, Bill Clinton's not far behind him.
Yeah, I guess so. You know, I don't know where his health issues.
Power that does that to you, think?
Maybe pressure. I think, you know, there's got to be a family history. In the case of Clinton, I think he does have a family history. I think his dad died early or something. His mother died, I think, relatively. You know, a lot of this is genetic. I mean, genetic when you go back to your family history. And I'm sure his lifestyle hasn't helped him. You know, these politicians go from cocktail party to cocktail party. There's food all the way around. There's always restaurant food. You know, they're in an unusual world of very rich food and very fast lifestyle. So perhaps that's the cause of it. It could be stress. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what it is. I mean, Clinton has fought it pretty well. I think he's been an inspiration to the country. They put stints in. He seems to be on top of it, as he is on top of a lot of things.
Right. Really. Bill, you know.
Yeah.
So as we look at this, I want to talk with you a little bit about this because it's just, I think, so significant, and I'm going to wait till we come back from the break. We are the sons and daughters of what arguably could be called the greatest generation.
Mm-hmm.
They fought a world war. They brought this country from where it was to where it was until we got it.
Sure.
And we're just, I mean,
fumbled it.
We're what, I mean, who out there can be proud of what we are anticipating leaving our children and grandchildren?
I agree with you fully.
Ron Hart, we'll be right back.
You're watching NewsView with Lee Sullivan.
Welcome back. It's NewsView, visiting with Ron Hart, talking about a variety of things. I want to speak with him just a little bit about what we're doing to our children and our grandchildren. I think it is. I think it is the most egregious thing that could happen. I just do not understand how the people that have managed to be elected as leaders of this country can move in the direction that they're moving right now with impunity and no thought at all about what those that come behind us will have to deal with.
I agree. My generation, I wrote a column about it one time, is a very selfish generation. I mean, we fought no major wars. You were a Purple Heart in Vietnam, and I missed that. I'm 50 years old. It's been the me generation. We've all only cared about ourselves, and we're leaving to our kids a $13 trillion debt and counting. Last month it was $225 billion in 1 month worth of debt. Someone's going to pay for that down the road. It's a very selfish endeavor when you always want from the government and not willing to give. It's a sad state of affairs. You know, we were, you know, our generation's fought a couple of misguided wars. We've really defended no freedoms. We've not advanced our country in many ways, except for capitalism. I think the Bill Gates is, there's been some, you know, capitalism has brought about the abundance for this country, and that's been the untold story. And we're treading on very thin ice with capitalism right now, because all of a sudden
We
capitalism
vilify
is,
capitalists.
Exactly, and Obama, for a lot of different reasons, that's one of the worst things. It's not the headline you hear about him, but that's the worst things he's done, is to vilify capitalism, business people who start, hire people. That's where the employment comes. Unemployment continues to rise because the government can't employ everybody. You can't have it that way. They like it that way because they can control more votes. They like the unions to be there in their pocket, and they want to hire more people. And it's all the stimulus bill is and has been about, is hiring more teachers and government workers. It hasn't been about shovel-ready projects and all this other stuff. It's about power and control. But to your point, our generation, and I'm disappointed in the mindset that we have, is about us. And we had it too easy. Every generation did better than the previous generation. I worry for my kids that it'll be tough on them. There's going to be a Greece-type default in some form or fashion. You cannot continue to spend $1 trillion a year that you don't have. You either got to print the money or borrow the money. You print it, you cause inflation. You borrow it, you put people in debt. It's an unsustainable endeavor. It can't go on forever.
Do people care? Do they understand? Do you think they understand and care? Do you think that they understand and care and they believe that they're powerless to do anything about it?
I think there's a lack of economics taught in schools. The liberal school agenda, the government school system has kind of a Rosa Parks New Deal, Gandhi. They're having a fight in Texas now over school books.
Right.
And what do you emphasize to kids? I mean, who do you emphasize? As Che Rivera. I mean, who are the greats of all time? They push Thomas Jefferson aside. They push Ben Franklin aside. And they elevate people like Madonna and Gandhi and certain other rather nefarious people sometimes, not those people, but others that are very questionable labor leaders that have come along as great heroes of all time, Rosa Parks, a great hero. I always said one time we could have avoided the civil rights issue if Rosa Parks had just called a shotgun.
Right.
But no, Rosa Parks, there were some great civil rights leaders that were needed at the time. Martin Luther King was needed at the time. And Rosa Parks was needed at the time. But the problem with Obama and these other people, they think they have to carry on that legacy, but now it's a different fight now. Every generation has a different fight to fight. Right. They're fighting old wars. The liberals are fighting the 60s wars. They're not progressives, they're regressive. They're fighting wars they read about and they're heroes and trying to replicate their heroes of old, and it's bad policy for what we need now. We need to stop spending money. We're going to go broke as a country. We won't be a superpower. We got to get out of Afghanistan and Iraq with some measure of dignity, save that $3 trillion that we spent or will spend over there, come back and defend our borders, and be financially responsible. And people need to stop always wanting something for nothing. That's the fundamental mindset of Americans at times.
I think, my friend, that phrase sums it up. Ron Hart, we'll be right back.